All right, I'm going to try to do a quick video here illustrating what I'm about to do. So this is going to be about the Cadillac limo that I have with the Northstar engine that's overheating. Seems like these cars have a very common problem with the overheating. So aside from fixing that issue, I'm going to add some extra cooling capacity, which is hard to do because there's not a lot of room under the hood or in front of the engine or behind the engine or anywhere else. So what I'm going to do, and excuse the wind noise here, I have bought a few things that I'm going to piece together to create additional cooling for the engine oil. And the first thing that I bought was this kit here from Transdapt, and it is a remote dual oil filter setup. So reason I got that is because I really like this fitting here that goes to the block in place of your oil filter. So you're gonna put this in place of your filter, and you have a 1/2-inch hose coming out. You're gonna connect that then to your dual remote oil filter setup, and then you're gonna take basically this, and you are going to you can have the oil exit this side or that side. That's the other nice thing. You can mount this any which way. You can have the flow any which way you want. So that's really nice. So I'm going to start with that. But before the oil returns back to its original filter location, I'm going to add a cooler of some sort. Now, they don't make a kit for this, so this is several kits that I'm going to be putting or piecing together. So this cooler came with this kit here, and this came with some hardline, which I really liked. I'm going to prefer to use this hardline wherever possible, because that way you can bend it to fit the location you need it to go in, and it's not going to, it's not going to get in the way of anything. It's going to stay put, and because it's metal, it's going to dissipate a little bit of heat, right? I'm assuming you can buy this type of tubing at most auto parts stores, or you can probably make it yourself with a flaring tool. But I really like this kind of swage style connection, so I'm definitely going to try to go with something like this over the rubber hose if I can, wherever I can. So then comes the cooler itself. Well, you got several options here. This is the one that came with this kit, which is extremely fragile. It's very unprotected. I mean, this is brand new out of the box, and it's already kind of dinged up. So that's going to be one option. The nice thing about this is that it has a 1/2-inch opening, so you don't have to create any sort of adapter for the hose. And I want to stay with a 1/2-inch hose because that's a pretty big diameter, and that's going to give you a lot of volume and a lot, more volume, more cooling. So hopefully I can go with that. But there's a lot of trade-offs here. One is cost, and two is where you're going to put this stuff. Ideally, I'd like to put it underneath the front bumper, but for that I would have to run an additional fan, and because you're not going to have any airflow under there. So they make coolers much bigger than this, which are also much more expensive than this. You can get a 30-row cooler with a fan built in on top, but you're looking at typically like $200-300 for just that cooler. So this is going to get pretty pricey pretty quick, unfortunately. Not so happy about the price tag, but what I have here is pretty reasonable. This kit and this kit, I think this is maybe like $100-150 total so far. So that's reasonable. This kit, by the way, came with this style of adapter. So instead of like this, you're going to have these coming out the side. So same type of thing, but coming out the side. And also this is going to take an oil filter on top. So you would actually have three if I use this, I'd actually have 3 oil filters. But I think I'm going to go with this one because it's compact. Anyway, that just came with the kit. Just thought I'd show it to you. So that came with this kit here. Moving on, I bought another cooler, which I'm going to send back. I like this cooler a little better than this one. The construction's a little better. It seems like a little less little more damage resistant, just the way it's built. It's a little tougher. But the trouble I ran into is that now this hose is way too big, and I don't want something that small a diameter, so we're not going to use that one. Now, alternately, another budget-friendly option is to get a heater core. You can pick up these heater cores brand new online pretty cheap, and I'm thinking about if I go with the heater cores, I may be able to put a few of them in series, and these are definitely pretty well built. I mean, it's just a tiny radiator. I would much rather go with this over this. Trouble here is, as you can see, now you've got a heater core inlet, which now the inlet is too big, so now I'd have to find an adapter to try to find a way to adapt this hose to this larger diameter pipe. And then heater cores always, you know, depending on the vehicle, you've got these wonky fittings where they're crimped on, where they move, you know. I don't know if they're supposed to move or not. I don't think they're really supposed to move very much, but they do. And in fact, I'm pretty sure that ain't supposed to move. But anyway, you may have to end up cutting these down, and I don't really know. I can't like TIG weld aluminum, especially something this thin. So, you know, you got to have some skill to actually weld this up and make it the way you want it to be. So, I really like the heater core, but this is kind of a mess I don't really want to deal with. So that's another option for you. Lastly, and I'm just using this as a visual representation, imagine this being a coil of copper tubing. So copper tubing is a great thing to go with because you can coil it up, it's not going to corrode out, and you can place it anywhere. It's not ideal because it's not going to dissipate nearly as much heat as a radiator style cooler, but this is like my last resort. I'm just going to run a big bunch of copper tubing underneath the car, and I'm not going to worry about damaging it, but it will give me some additional cooling. So just wanted to lay it all out on the table here to give you an idea of where I'm going with this, but I definitely like the idea of the dual remote oil filter. Adds a little bit of volume, adds a little bit of cooling, and then hopefully I'll be able to find a couple of coolers, you know, maybe this style that maybe I get 2 or 3 of them under the front bumper. You know, that would give me a lot of cooling capacity. Also, they make coolers for some of the hybrid vehicles, like the Toyota Prius. They actually have something that's going to look like this heater core, except it's going to be probably about 4 times as wide as this, because they need cooling for their batteries. And so they use antifreeze to cool the batteries. And so you can find a very long, narrow radiator that you can put up under the bumper. And again, it's going to be the same situation like this where you're going to have to adapt it, but you will have a proper heat exchanger to use that'll have a very large capacity for you. So anyway, next video I'm going to get under the car and see what kind of real estate I'm working with. I really like this. This is built really well. This is like kind of impressively well built piece. Very heavy duty. I like it when they overbuild stuff. That's just the proper way to do things. Anyway, hope you found this interesting, but you can piece together a oil cooler and remote filter kit for your Cadillac with a Northstar.